What is up, guys? Toe114 here, and I'm bringing you my Week 2 match of the UBA versus Dougie McBuckets, coach of the New York Pokemon Rangers. Trying to build on a Week 1 momentum where we came in with a 3-0 win. So, in this battle was a little bit different because there were so many mons I had to prepare for on his team, so many threats to my team. Just to give a brief rundown of the 11 Pokemon my opponent has. My opponent is packing a team consisting of Zapdos, Lucario, Vaporeon, Nidoqueen, Mesprit, Pyroar, Mega Absol, Sylveon, Haxorus, Aerodactyl, and Gourgeist. And my team, of course, Garchomp, Ranunculus, Amoonguss, Donphan, Alomomola, Electivire, Mega Sableye, Azumarill, Heracross, Registeel, and Exploud. So, there were a couple of mons that I really wanted to bring. Like, I wanted to bring Mega Sableye, but the Sylveon was an issue, and I didn't want to give him a free Calm Mind boost or like a setup going. So I decided against it simply because he didn't bring the Sylveon. I was a little bit upset because he didn't even bring the Sylveon himself, but nevertheless, I still felt as though I had a team that could handle any group of 6 Pokemon that he decided to bring versus me. Just to give a brief rundown of the team that I brought. First off, I bring my Registeel with Stealth Rock, Toxic, Iron Head, and Brick Break. Mostly physically defensive to take on his Lucario if he's a Sword Stance variant. I can live a close combat if he's not set up. With some attack investment, like max HP, 32 attack, and 224 defense with the Impish Nature. The 32 attack EVs on my Registeel ensures that Brick Break 2 KOs Mega Absol. So basically my Registeel's job in this battle is to just get up rocks, as his only form of hazard removal is Magic Bounce, Mega Absol, and the potential defog Zapdos. He could be offensive, who knows. But I do have Toxic to wear that thing down, pressure him into roosting, so it's not that big of an issue. Next up we have Choice Scarf Garchomp again. Pretty much a similar set as last week, with the exception of I am running Poison Jab over Iron Head, I believe, with enough speed to outspeed a +1 Jolly Haxorus. So, and I'm running Dragon Claw over Outrage, as he did have the Sylveon. I didn't want him to get a free switch to Sylveon if he did bring the I didn't want him to Outrage and then fear him going to Sylveon getting him a free turn. So pretty much Garchomp's only my revenge killer. I outspeed the Pyroar. I can outspeed potential Scarf Nidoqueen. I outspeed Mega Absol, force him to Sucker Punch me. Things like that. So pretty much it's pretty straightforward Choice Scarf Garchomp here. Simple, send it in revenge kill, a weakened mons, and rinse and repeat. So next up we have an Assault Vest Donphan with Ice Shard, Rapid Spin, Earthquake, and Gunk Shot. Gunk Shot was here specifically for the Sylveon, which he did not bring, and because of that I am sort of walled by the Zapdos and the Aerodactyl a bit, so I really had to play around those mons. I mean, Ice Shard still is a good amount of damage, but I didn't really, it's not a max attack investment Donphan. It's max HP, and then I'm running enough speed to outspeed an uninvested base 60 Pokemon like his Sylveon, 2 KO with Gunk Shot. I can live a Hyper Voice if he's offensive, or if he's like a defensive Wish variant, but he didn't bring it, so it's not that big of a deal. Fourth mon, we see the Ranunculus. Pretty much similar as to last week, with the exception of instead of Shadow Ball, I have Signal Beam, and which lets me hit the Mega Absol. I'm also running Cobra Berry, so I can take a knockoff from the Mega Absol and retaliate with a Signal Beam. At the same time, I need to get a Calm Mind boost before I can try to get rid of the Mega Absol, or have Mega Absol take some prior damage, as I'm fully physically defensive this week. No in between this time. So Signal Beam doesn't 1 KO Mega Absol without either prior damage or a Calm Mind boost. But once I get rid of the Mega Absol, I can freely click Psyshock with my Ridiculous, no problem. Fifth Mon is my Azumarill, another Assault Vest user. This one lets me take on the Pyroar, takes on another way to deal with Sylveon. Pretty much straightforward set of Waterfall, Aqua Jet, Play Rough, and the knockoff. Knockoff was here for the knockoff specifically so I can knock off Vaporeon's leftovers. I can deal with knock off Zapdos' leftovers, force him to roost, and all that stuff. Play Rough for the Mega Absol, for the Haxorus, and Aqua Jet just here for the priority. Pretty much similar. It's pretty much standard Smogon set. Very straightforward. And lastly, I have my Life Orb Electivire with Thunderbolt, Volt Switch, Flamethrower, and Ice Punch. As Ice Punch does more to the Haxorus and the Nidoqueen. I'm bringing enough speed on my Electivire to outspeed a Jolly Max Speed Lucario. And pretty much a mix set. I can come in, Thunderbolt, his Vaporeon, Ice Punch the Nidoqueen for a good amount of damage. Ice Punch Haxorus on the Switch. Ice Punch is a 3-hit KO on the Zapdos. I can switch it onto Zapdos' potential Volt Switch, things like that. Get a speed boost thanks to Motor Drive, and possibly outspeed his Aerodactyl, his Pyroar, something naturally faster than my Electivire. So that's the team I brought this week. It's a divisional matchup, so we're going to be playing him again later on this season. So my opponent decides to bring a team of Zapdos, Nidoqueen, Pyroar, Vaporeon, Mega Absol, and Aerodactyl. I was very, very shocked that he did not bring the Haxorus or the Lucario, as those were two of the mons that I was definitely fearing the most on this team. As after, because Haxorus can pretty much can do a lot to my team, especially if it gets up at least like 1 or 2 Dragon Dances. If it's like a Dragon Dance, Poison Jab variant, which can really do a ton of damage to my team. So I was really surprised that he didn't bring it. But at the same time, I think he felt as though that I had too many responses and stuff to revenge kill Haxorus. Same thing with Lucario. I was really fearing Lucario because I brought checks for both physical and special variant of Lucario, like the AV Azumarill for special, and physically defensive Registeel and Scarf Chomp as a revenge killer if Lucario becomes an issue. So really surprised I didn't see Lucario, but wasn't going to complain. So potential leads for my opponent: he can lead up with a Nidoqueen, get up his rocks. He can lead up with Aerodactyl, be a potential Sash Suicide lead. Or he can lead with Mega Absol, get off the Mega Evolution very turn 1. The one thing that all three of these Pokemon have in common, they are all weak to Azumarill. So I felt very confident leading off with Azumarill, seeing as though that those 3 Pokemon hate being loses to Azumarill 1v1, except for like Sludge Wave. Nidoqueen doesn't one-shot my Azumarill because I'm Assault Vest, unless he's like a crazy spec set. But none of that, it was pretty safe for me to lead off with Azumarill. So as we play the match here, he leads off. I lead off with my Azumarill as he leads off with his Mega Absol. I get to click Play Rough for free here, so he gets off his Mega Evolution. And then I completely forget that this thing is Will-O-Wisp, so he burns my Azumarill, so now it's crippled for the rest of the match. Fortunately for me, Play Rough still one-shots, and with Mega Absol out of the way, turn 1, I can immediately click Psyshock with my Ridiculous. So it's looking very good already from the beginning, so I can't really complain. I mean, I had to have my Azumarill get burned, but the fact that Mega Absol is gone, meaning I can get up my rocks, I can pressure his team, so I can't really complain. So the burn does suck, but he goes on to his Zapdos. No reason to stay, and I'm going to go directly into my Electivire, hoping he Volt Switches. Instead, he goes for the Toxic, which is a good play on his part. So now I get to click a free Ice Punch here. It does about 41 cents. Like I said, 3-hit KO. So he goes for the Roar here, expecting me to switch out. He gets me into my Donphan, which is fine, but he goes for the Toxic here as I try to go for I went for Earthquake here, predicting him to roost this turn, trying to keep his Zapdos healthy. So nice play on his part going for the Toxic. And now he pulls the switch into his Vaporeon here as I go for the Gunk Shot. Unfortunately, I do miss the Gunk Shot, which kind of sucks. I have no reason to stay in here, so I'm just going to go directly out into my Azumarill. It's already crippled with a burn, so I figured I just try to knock off its item, get rid of the leftovers, and force him to wish more often. He goes for the wish this turn. I go for the knockoff. Doesn't do much because I'm burned, obviously. So it sucks because my Pyro Switch is being worn down here. I don't want to go directly into my Ranunculus because I don't want to reveal that I am Calm Mind just yet. So I went for double knockoff there, predicting him to switch into his Zapdos. So I figured I'd take this opportunity to go to my Registeel, which kind of was a risky play because I didn't want to risk getting burned. Fortunately, I don't, as he pulls a switch out into his Pyro here as I get my Stealth Rocks up this turn. So I'm not going to stay in here fearing the Fire Blast, so I'm going to go directly, I'm going to switch out, go back into my Azumarill this turn, as he goes for Substitute here, which was a good play on his part. I needed to break the Substitute, so I go for the Aqua Jet this turn. The crit didn't matter, as even though I'm burned, it would take out the sub. Unfortunately, I had to sack on my Azumarill there to the Hyper Voice, which sucks. So I do go back out to my Donphan, trying to get an Earthquake off. Then he goes on to his Vaporeon. I click Gunk Shot here, predicting him to go into the Zapdos. So unfortunately, I miss again. I lost my Skull Switch in, so this time I'm going to go back into my Ranunculus this time to try to take the Skull, which it does pretty comfortably. Now I'm just going to go for Calm Mind here, see what he's going to do. And he has Roar on this Vaporeon as well, so he's really trying to prevent my Ranunculus from getting up a Calm Mind sweep going, which did help me out last game. He roars me out into my Donphan. I'm not going to stay in. I go to my Electivire here on the Wish as he goes out into his Nidoqueen, predicting me to go for a Thunderbolt, which I do. So, which kind of sucks, but it's fine. So this turn I decided to go for the Ice Punch, if I recall correctly. No, I switched afterwards. So I went back into Donphan here to try to just sack it off because I didn't want to stay in because Ice Punch wouldn't kill Nidoqueen from full. So I decided to sack off my Donphan here because it wasn't really doing much in this battle because it was walled by the Zapdos, walled by the Aerodactyl. So I went for Ice Sword for damage as I go back into my Nucleus, getting a free Psyshock off on something. So he goes back out into his Vaporeon. I go for the Psyshock here. It doesn't do that much damage. So I figure he's gonna roar. So I decided to go for a cover here, thinking he would roar me out this turn, but he doesn't. He goes for a Psyshock. I go for a Psyshock again. He does roar me out. This time I go out into my Garchomp. So, which kind of sucks. I don't want to have my Garchomp get skull burned. So I decided to go back out to my Registeel here because I figured it's going to bait in the Pyroar anyway. So I decided that even if it gets burned, it's alright. So I went for the Toxic here. Tried to catch something on the switch. Hopefully not the Nidoqueen. Fortunately, he does stay in. So this Vaporeon is now on a timer. Now he goes out into his Pyroar on my Iron Head, I think. I went for Iron Head here, predicting him to go into Nidoqueen. But that's fine. So he gets back to full HP. And I know he's going to substitute again. So I decided to be bold here and stay in and go for the Brick Break. It does break its sub, but I know my Registeel can take one Fire Blast from the range of HP it's at. So I go for the Fire Blast here. It doesn't knock me out. I go for the Brick Break again, the 2-hit KO, which is fine. So I can just sack off my Registeel here, as it already got the rocks up. And I can pressure the Zapdos with the rest of my Mons, so it's not that big of a deal. So we're down 3-4 here as I go out into my Garchomp. I can have Revenge Kill with the Dragon Claw. So we're trying to even up the score here. It's now 3 versus 4. In comes the Aerodactyl. Dragon Claw doesn't kill from the range of HP it's at, so I decided to sack off my Electivire here. I know he has Ice Fang on this thing, else he would have sent it out so casually. So I sack my Electivire here as it allows me to go out into my Ranunculus this turn. Excuse me. So I go out into my Ranunculus here, and I get up a free Psyshock on something no matter what. So he goes out into the Zapdos here. I go for Calm Mind here just to gauge that he's not like... I went for Calm Mind here to see if he went a taunt variant of Aerodactyl first before I did anything. And then I go for the Psyshock here to go for the Roar. I thought he would Roost that turn, which benefits me because it forces him to, I was hoping he wouldn't Roost because with Zapdos gone, those rocks are here to stay. He gets out into his Nidoqueen here. I decided to sack off my Garchomp here to a Dragon Claw. It wasn't going to kill the Nidoqueen from full. I decided to let it drop to Ice Beam here, and the reason I did that is because, pause right here. The reason I decided not to switch out into Ranunculus that turn was because I already saw that he had Roar on Zapdos, he had Roar on Vaporeon, and I figured if my Ranunculus is in a last mon situation, he cannot phase out my Ranunculus. And from the look, and from the range, and for the fact that my Ranunculus is already at full HP, it means that Psyshock can take out the Nidoqueen, obviously. Aerodactyl cannot take out my Ranunculus with one attack, and Vaporeon cannot touch me. It really cannot touch me. It is Wish, Roar, Scald, and I'm assuming the last move was Protect, so either Protect or Baton Pass. It didn't really show that move. So I figured stack off my Garchomp here, go into my Ranunculus, try to get a late game sweep going, which is why I stacked off my Garchomp the way I did. So instead of setting up a Calm Mind here, I decided to go directly for the Psyshock here, not to risk any like crazy shenanigans here. So go for the Psyshock, take out the Nidoqueen, which is fine. Now he goes out into his Aerodactyl, takes more Stealth Rock damage. And now he goes for the Aerial Ace, and you see that does minuscule damage to my Ranunculus. I go for the Psyshock, I take it out, and now it's just between Ranunculus and a poisoned Vaporeon. If he had Heal Bell, he'd use it, but apparently he did not. He goes for the Scald here. I'm just going to recover Stall here, as I have no reason to attack right now. And he figures it's a losing battle, so he doesn't try to do any Wish Stall shenanigans here. So I'm just going to keep on recover stalling here. It kind of sucks the way the battle ended, but at the same time, I didn't want to risk any crits or anything of that. Scald doesn't matter on Magic Guard. Now I go for the Calm Mind here to ensure that I can take at least 2 more Scalds. The toxic damage is going to wear it down. It's going to eventually take it out. He's not even going to bother to Wish Stall. I go for the recover one more time, as the toxic damage takes out the Vaporeon, and that's going to be a good game. So my Ranunculus really helped out. It really picked up the slack late game. So also gotta give props to my opponent. He brought a very threatening team, and he definitely tried to ensure that I did not get a streak going with my Calm Mind Ranunculus, which was great prep on his part. But I felt as though that the toxic on the Vaporeon was very crucial, especially for the fact that he didn't have Heal Bell, which kind of benefited me because Vaporeon was an issue. I let my Electivire get worn down way too fast. I kind of played it very poorly, but at the same time, it didn't really do much outside of trying to catch the Zapdos and the Aerodactyl on a switch with like a Volt Switch or something, and he still had that Nidoqueen healthy, so I could have worn it out a little bit better, but at the same time, I felt as though that everybody tried to, I think like the team I brought was sufficient enough at this point, and kind of held it down here, and hopefully it won't come down to a situation where I'm going to have to rely on my Ranunculus every single week to try to bail me out. So this is a 1-0 win. We are 2-0, differential of 4. So this is a solid win nonetheless. It was nice for me to bring it back from that 1-3 deficit. So it was kind of touch and go there with the way I played midway, with me risking my Registeel with a Scald burn, potential Scald burn from the Vaporeon and all that stuff. Fortunately, it did work out for me, so I can't really complain. But at the same time, I need to be a little bit more cautious when it comes to these things, especially since we have to play him again. So he's definitely going to bring he's going to bring a lot better. He's going to prepare a lot differently, and I have to do the same. So nevertheless, we are 2-0. Nice way to start off the season. So hope you guys enjoyed this battle. If you did, feel free to hit that like button. If you really enjoyed the content, feel free to hit that subscribe button, because there's going to be plenty more action to come. We have the last 2 weeks of the NES coming up. We have, of course, the UBA. We have, and I also have my IBL Week 3 match coming up in the next couple of days, though my content will probably get delayed a few days because classes start back for me this week, so it's going to be a little bit hectic. So nevertheless, I still will try to keep busting out these videos for you guys, and I appreciate your support. So until the next time, my name is Anthony, aka Tone14, and I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Later.